Every club. Every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Obviously, welcome to a Daily Newcastle podcast, but us three, when we're together, cannot start a pod without somebody laughing at the start out loud. This time it was Nicola, so well done, Nick.
Sorry.
Right. It's supposed to be Wildcard Wednesday, but there's so much happening with Newcastle at the minute. We're going to talk about a couple of things. And with it being me, I've obviously got a love-hate relationship. So I'm joined by the girls, right? I've got Nick, who is iconic in terms of her sheer dislike of me. So she's going to put me right on this one. And then Jo, who's famous for being, I would say, you're an emotional reactor. I think you're quite sensible overall, but emotion gets the better of you when news breaks, doesn't it, Jo?
I can't wait for any of my mates to hear this.
Oh,
it's official. Kev says I'm sensible. Nobody says I'm sensible. I love you now.
Kind of are, just after the emotional meltdown to start with, then you're sensible.
That's a good summary, thank you.
There we go, there we go.
That.
Maybe I'm okay at this. Anyway, I want to talk about it a minute. So Newcastle United's cool. We've had loads of drama with Isak, which if you listen to previous episodes, people have spoke about that. We are going to speak about that a tiny bit, but we're going to come at it from the possibility of could he stay? But that's later down the line. I want to talk about the fans' meltdown to start with, right? Because I think the club's been given a hard time. Now, saying that, I know I'm going to get jumped on. Not as much as Celtic fans jumped on us for winning the pre-season friendly. I'm going to come to that at the end of it as well. But anyway, I think Newcastle United fans, I've got a love-hate relationship with them. I think they're brilliant in the best possible way. I think they're loud, they're passionate, they're loyal to the club. Not so much loyal to managers or particular players, but they are loyal to the club. They spend loads of money. They are amazing fans. The atmospheres we've experienced through the years and the amount of times we've showed up when we've been crap. We have an amazing fan base, right? However, I've said this previously, this isn't news. We can be a little bit silly and a little bit emotional. And I just want to kind of get a reaction from you two on why I've been reading all sorts, and I'm way too positive to be a Newcastle fan. I've decided I need to find a new club or something because I'm too positive. So I'm going to go through the players we've missed out on because I think there's a bit of silliness in here. I want you to tell us if you'd be happy with them. Would you spend that much money of our budget on them? Do we need more depth? We've been saying Spain. I don't know what's going on. I'm talking about animals. Woo. We've been saying, right? We've been saying for ages we need depth for the Champions League. We need depth for the Premier League. And we're talking about being upset about missing out on an £80 million striker when at the time Isak was staying. All right. So let's just go through them. Let's start with the obvious one. I just want each of you, would you be happy to spend that much money to bring in this player with the current squad we have? Right. We're going to come to Isak's situation in a minute. Ekitike, 70 million, rising to potentially just over 80 million pounds for someone who scored 15 goals last season and before that has been bang average. Jo, would you be happy if we'd had Ekitike in the bag right now for 80 million pound?
I have to be honest, and yes, because I said it at the time, so I'd be going back on my word. So I'm just being honest.
Okay,
that
we have
yes,
to be honest.
Of course I would, because at the time I said just give them the money if we really want them, give them it, and we didn't. So yeah, I'll be honest and say yes.
I would have been excited, but I don't think it deserves a full-on meltdown. But we'll go to Nicola. Would you be happy with Ekitike for 80 million pounds?
Yeah, I remember when we spoke about this when he first was linked, and I said we'd be happy with that, considering our depth of the striker situation.
I probably agree. I think with having two quality strikers, but the only question mark for me is that £80 million. That's a lot of money of our budget when we need 3 or 4 players to spend on one player who, if we're keeping Isak, we might not need a striker, but we do need a backup. So 80 million for a backup can be over the top, but I'd be happy to take it. Right. João Pedro went to Chelsea for 70 million. We were linked with him. I don't know how much we really wanted him. I don't know how much of this was agent talk. We're going to come to agents in a minute because I'm not happy with them either. But João Pedro, 70 million. Would you be happy sat here if we had João Pedro for 70 million pounds? Again, it's a big chunk of budget. Nick?
Can I answer this in 2 parts? I would have been happy with him, but not for 70 million.
Yeah, I agree. No, I agree. I think
a bit less.
70 million is stupid.
I think that's a little bit too high. But then we're in a stupid business, so.
Didn't he score like 10 penalties last season? Something like that. And
yeah, something like that. Yeah. I would have been happy with him, but not for that much, really. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I would have been about a 5, 6 out of 10 if we'd got him for 70 million. I'd be a little bit excited, similar to Ekitike, but I'd also be in the back of my mind thinking, where on earth are we getting the rest of the money to buy 3 or 4 players? Jo, what about João Pedro for you, 70 million?
Mine will mirror image Nick's with just a bit of an add-on.
Nice.
Because I was initially feeling like that, but now that it's pretty much set that Isak's going to go, I just feel a bit better that we did have another striker in.
Yeah,
Asula's not going to cut it, is he?
Now
this is where mine's split now.
Isak going is different, but I'm talking about at the time when we were in for these players,
then
there was no talk of Isak going. So,
then what Nic said in that case at the time.
Yeah. Next one, Trafford, 30. It's rumoured 30 to 40 million. I don't think we'll ever know the full value, but it's in between 30 and 40. For me, I'll go first on this one. I would quite like him because he's young and he's probably England's next number one. How good he is, I don't really know, if I'm honest. The Championship's very different to the Prem. The last time he had a Premier League campaign, he conceded shed loads of goals when Burnley got relegated. Which is funny enough, everyone's using that against Ramsdale now. But I'm like, well, nobody was saying that about Trafford, which is strange. And it was like 40 million for him and it's peanuts for Ramsdale. Trafford, I would have been about a 5 out of 10. I would have been quite happy that we have a keeper, but is he good enough for moving forward? He's better with his feet, but that's about it for me. Joe?
Yeah, so again, I'm going to stick with my original answer from when he was really linked with us and not with Man City at all. No, not for 40 at all. I wanted him. I didn't really want to pay more than about 30.
Yeah, 30 max.
All the reasons you've just said, I'll be honest. So I'll stick with my original answers on them as well.
Nic, Trafford, happy if we'd had him or not, or what?
Same as the Pedro situation, really. It would have been happy with him at Newcastle, but
for the right price, yeah.
30 million seems a little bit ridiculous to me. Maybe 20, 25
for a Championship goalkeeper, yeah.
Yeah.
And the last one before we go into why people are listening, thinking, well, I'd be happy with that. Why we're going to kind of talk about this. Mbeumo went to Man United for 70 million. I just think that is an absolute insane price for Mbeumo. I said at the time when we were linked with him, I'd rather have Wissa. Looks like that's not happening anymore. He's refusing to train, but I know that's being covered by loads of Newcastle kind of podcasters and so-called reporters. But Mbeumo for 70 million, I would not have been happy if we paid 70 million pounds for Brian Mbeumo. So a lot of penalty goals in there again. But Joe, how would you have felt when Mbeumo for 70 million pounds of our budget on him?
I feel a bit weird saying this one because I pretty much plugged for Mbeumo to join us all of last season. So for me to now sit here and go, I wouldn't pay 70 million, when I probably would have paid 65. So how close are you getting there? Just being honest. I wouldn't be complaining. I know, and I get you, and I understand.
55 for Elanga, and I genuinely think Elanga would be better.
Oh no, and I'm more than happy that we've got Elanga, by the way, for the 55 than Mbeumo for the 70. But if we're just being honest and taking it back to where we were when we were bidding that, I wouldn't have been upset if we'd got him for 70 million. Okay. I can't lie.
70 million pound for that's nuts. Nic, 70 million pound for Mbeumo.
Oh,
going back to when we were bidding.
Yeah, you're James Trafford off £100 million player. Brian Mbeumo is not. Is he Brian Mbeumo? Is that his name? Yeah, is it? Anyway, Mbeumo is not 100 million, 70 million, 60 million pound player.
I've got to go back from when we were talking about, adding to the squad and adding who we would like to see. Me and Joe literally both said Mbeumo, and I think I said Madueke as well.
I'll change it. Would you rather have Elanga or Mbeumo for the prices? Are you happy with your Elanga business?
Well, so that's an invalid question because now we have Elanga.
Now we can look back and in hindsight, yes, that's fine. We're taking it back to before we had Elanga.
I would have said Mbeumo. Yeah, that's an invalid question, so you can't ask me that because I'm happy we have Elanga.
Can I ask what I want? I'm a horse.
Well, you can ask what you want, but I'm going to give you my most fantastic answer. Don't ask stupid questions.
Right, the reason I'm asking these questions is because I think there's been a massive overreaction of Newcastle fans. I get we've missed out on these players, right? So I get it's frustrating. I get we want players in the door. I know it's horrible when you go for a player and somebody else comes in and we take them. I get that can be frustrating. But the sheer meltdown from Newcastle fans right now, somebody put the other day on some sort of social media, but I can't even remember where it was because I've had to unfollow everything. Man United's interested in Sesko, but just not getting them. And I'm like, you can't just give up at it. If a club gave up that easy, we'd be in League 2 now when we got you can't just give up. You've still got to fight. You've still got to be a support. You've still got to be a fan. I know it's hard to be positive, and this is where you're going to tell me I'm talking a whole lot of rubbish, but why are we so unhappy? I think Elanga's a good buy, right? Yes, we'd love to have 2 or 3 more players in, but we wouldn't be able to have 2 or 3 more players in if we're signing Mbeumo for 70 or like a Tiki for 80. We'd have to sell somebody like Isak or Gordon to then get the centre-half, centre midfield and the goalkeeper in. So why is there a massive kind of outpour of negative emotion from Newcastle United fans? I need an answer.
Yeah, well, I'm going to give you one.
Go on, man.
Go on then, because I've got him.
I'm not. Yeah, I don't. you have to look at it as a thing of, it's the way it's all been gone about. And that's my personal if we're talking about Isak personally, that is my problem.
Yeah.
It's not Isak. This is the one we've missed. We're coming to Isak in a minute.
We're not allowed to talk about Isak yet.
We're coming to Isak in a minute, but this is just with people we've missed out on. So at this moment, when we went for these players, Isak was staying. We were going to offer him a new contract. I know it hasn't worked out that way, but at that moment in time, the outpour of emotion before the Isak thing, I'm going to come to that separately, but why are we so unhappy about missing out on players who we'd be given a 6 or a 7 out of 10 as a signing? It's a lot of money. Why are the Newcastle fans? I don't understand. That's why I'm asking the question.
Did we not do the same with Isak though before we signed him? Well, he's not that great. He's come to Newcastle now. He's the best striker in the world. I think the emotion. I think the emotion behind it.
Trust Eddie Howe.
No, it's not even about Eddie Howe. It's not about Eddie Howe. It's about how
Eddie Howe turned Isak into a £100 million player.
Kev, let me talk.
150.
150.
Yeah.
200.
If it's the way the club, for me personally, and we spoke about it yesterday, is, to me, it seems like the club not give up, because obviously we don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but we'll put a bid in, or we'll open conversations with whoever and whatever agent and whatever club, and then it's like, for example, Man United come in for Mbeumo. Okay, cool, have him. We want to go for Ekitike. Whether or not we were in general contention for Ekitike, it will be the world's biggest mystery. Will we just having Liverpool on strings? Probably to keep them away from Isak. We probably generally were. But let's put in hindsight, if we were generally in for that and Liverpool were like, oh well, we're going to offer it was just kind of like we just back off. That we don't know what goes on behind the scenes. They probably don't, and we it's a business and we probably don't see the ins and outs of it. But from a fan perspective, and I'm talking from only my perspective and a fan's perspective, I feel like the club give up way too easily. And when we had Amanda and Mirdad here, and it seems like things, I know we were beginning a new journey and we're still in that journey, and I get it, but it feels like players sort of wanted to join more back then than seem what we want to do now. And it seems we're not doing anything to get these players interested, keep them. It's just a little bit annoying. That's my personal opinion on it.
No, it's nice to hear, because I don't want to read it online, because I want to speak to people I know and trust, and obviously I trust you too. But my response to that would be, I don't know if we are giving, like you said, we don't know what goes on behind closed doors. But from my point of view, we've both sat there, or all three of us have just sat there about 5 minutes ago and said, I wouldn't pay over 30 for Trafford. So the club can't just say, oh my God, Man City's in, let's pay an extra 10 million. Because we haven't got 10 million to play with. PSR is a nightmare. And Ekitike, again, they made a club record bid of £70 million. Yeah. And when they tried to bend us over and add the Newcastle tax, just like Amanda would have, by the way, she did with Gordon in the documentary.
Yeah.
She said, nope, absolutely not. I'm not paying 80 million. And the club have done that again. I think it's ambitious to go for these players. And it is different than when Amanda was here, because we're now rivaling Man City and Liverpool and them type of clubs for players. We're not rivaling Lille anymore, or teams like that. We're now rivaling bigger clubs. But I like that they're setting the price and we're not getting ripped off. We're saying, look, we're not going to pay you an extra 10 million because we're Newcastle. We will offer you £70 million, which is what Liverpool offered. But we accepted Liverpool's with plus 10, and we didn't want to add the plus 10. But we have our values, like we did with Trafford before. We said about Mbeumo, I personally wouldn't pay that 70 million. Joe said no more than 65, so you probably would push to 70. So I love that the club are saying, you know what, he's not worth £80 million. You're not getting it off us. Get it off Liverpool, get it off Chelsea, get it off whoever. Yeah. We will find another target who we will pay a fair price for, because we're not getting ripped off. I like that. Joe, what's your thoughts on it? Why? Nick's made a good point there, to be fair. I think it's the way it's happening and it's slow. I get it, but
yeah, it's absolutely that for me as well. I mean, we touched on this yesterday. It seems a bit of the dragging of the heels. We discussed the fact that there was so little communication during the Ashley eras that we've gotten used to no communication. Mirdad and Manda came in and spoiled us, quite frankly. We were absolutely spoiled for 2 seasons, weren't we? We knew what was going on. All right, not the full ins and outs, but, to a degree, there was certainly more level of communication than there ever has been. They've gone, and it's, apart from the fact that it's not crap like the Ashley era, communication level is back to zero, if you know what I mean. So as a fan, you feel stuck in your... No, I'm not saying that. Yeah. At no point have I said that, by the way. What I mean is, we were spoiled. So it's almost, because we've been spoiled, maybe we should never have been spoiled, right? Maybe we should just never have been this wonderfulness by these 2 people, because they've left, and unfortunately nobody else is willing to do that. But that's been and gone. And I've got to be honest, in this window, and I know we're going to talk about him properly in the next bit.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
But I actually wasn't too annoyed, peed off, or anything. I was a bit like knocked slightly, going, oh, we're not getting anyone. It'll be all right. I kept saying to myself, it'll be fine, man. We're going to do it, Nolly. We're going to do an Isak. Someone's going to come out the water. It's going to be great. It's fine. And I think it's just the whole Isak situation, which has tipped a lot of people over the edge. I'll be honest, it's tipped me because I haven't even whinged for weeks. And I don't like to whinge, to be honest. I like a little bit. It's true, isn't it, though? Mate. Now all of a sudden, I'm wanting to sit here, just bitch and moan, and it's purely down to him and the way that his situation was handled. So actually, I'm not that mad about most of the other transfers, I've got to be honest.
Okay.
It's the tipping point of Isak it's turned things, I think.
I like your answers. I think both of you have given really good answers, and it has probably helped me see a little bit more, but I do think that we're going to come to Isak, so we're going to come to that next, because I think that does have a bit more validity for an overreaction than kind of missing out on targets. But I think missing out on targets happens to every club. I think the difference is, as Newcastle fans, like I said, the positives of Newcastle fans is the passion, is the loyalty to the club. We want to know everything, and you touched on that a little bit, Joe. We want to know who we're going for, but then as soon as that comes out, other clubs know, you're more likely to miss out on them. You look at like the Tonali deal, nobody knew we had him until we actually probably had him. Very similar with Botman, because it was Carlos as a smoke screen, and it was very similar with Isak. It was Ekatike as a smoke screen, and then Isak coming in. So I think, it's not known, I guess, which is good, but I still think there's been a massive overreaction. Anyway, we're gonna go to Ronaldo's mob, as Ian used to call him. He doesn't say it anymore since I've said that. So now it's kind of what Kev says. So we're gonna go to Ronaldo's mob, and in part 2, we're gonna talk about Isak, but not in a traditional way I've seen online so far. We're going to talk about, I think there's loads of positives if he leaves. I think there's positives if he stays. But we are going to discuss, does he have a way back now?
Your body is unique. And Global Sports Podcast Network has partnered with Bioniq, the world's most personalised supplements. Bioniq provide 100% tailor-made supplements designed to deliver precisely what your body needs at exactly the right levels to optimize your health. No guessing. So click the link in the show notes. Use the code GSPN2025 for 40% off your first month's subscription. Bioniq. Don't settle for off-the-shelf solutions made for just anybody. Get what's right for you right now.
Lovely stuff. Right, so in part 1, I think there's been a massive overreaction of missing out on transfer targets, even though I do understand it's frustration. I've listened to Nicola, I've listened to Joe, and I think they've both made completely valid points about why it can be a little bit upsetting the way the transfer window's gone so far. Right, Alexander Isak then. So this was the tipping point. You both mentioned in part 1, this was the tipping point. This was the, what is happening? I can't deal with missing out on them players who I'd be semi/happy with. But I'm done. I'm finished now because of Isak. So let's just clarify the whole thing, right? Isak hasn't asked to leave, technically he hasn't asked to leave. He's asked to explore his options. That's been what the agent has come out with since day 1 when it broke. Explore his options. Now at the timeline, let's go through the timeline. Everyone thought explore his options meant, I want more money at Newcastle. You're going to bow down. You're going to give me 300 grand a week and everyone's going to be happy, right? That's what we all thought it was. And then Liverpool come out of woodwork, Saudi come out of woodwork, and we're thinking, could he actually go now? And then there hasn't really been another statement from Isak's agent since that. Howe's kind of talked about it. Players have talked about not wanting him to leave. And apparently, the big gaffer of PIF is back in town. He's in the northeast, isn't he? So he's coming to sort stuff out and he's having talks. So he's not happy about something. So let's just start. It's therapy, isn't it? Let's just start with how we felt at the time. I know you spoke about it on a previous pod, so I'm going to go first and I'll let you chuck in. I'm not going to go into it too much deeply. When I first heard about it, of course, I was upset. I thought he got us. He scored the winning goal to lift our first trophy. He's in the Champions League. Why would he want to leave? Like, he's idolised. He had the war flags display. I get it's Liverpool, massive club, second biggest club in the country. But why? I was a bit miffed. I woke up the next morning and I thought, you know what? If we get £150 million for him, PSR doesn't exist anymore for a while. We can go massive. Get in a centre-half, get in a midfielder, get in another striker or two, and a goalkeeper. And we're not even under pressure to sell because we've sold somebody for 100. So then I started thinking of the positives. What was it for you guys? I know you've spoke about it previously, so you don't have to take too long because I've got loads more questions on how he comes back from this if he stays. But what was it about it which exploring what was it? Exploring his options or
exploring his options. Yeah.
What was it about that which has got this emotional reaction?
Purely for me, I'll be honest, and I think most people agree. But Nick, you can say what you want after. But it was the timing of it all. I just think it's quite far into the transfer window. There's a lot happened. There's a lot of people that we've missed out on, so to speak, have been linked with other people, or flat out going to another team now. So yeah, it just I don't know. It just doesn't sit right with me at all. The timing of it all, and as such. I mean, by the way, I absolutely agree with you on the price because my positive side of my mind immediately went to
imagine getting that money.
Damn right, grab 150 million, get gone. I'm like, it's like it annoyed us, but I didn't get too chewed. I think it's more when I start speaking about it. It sets us off on one because I'm not known for that. But like,
not like Joe gets emotional. I didn't mention
not like Joe to get all emotional. But yeah, purely as I say, it's timing, and then it's got a knock-on effect from that. So yeah, Nick, you go, girl.
My infuriation with the whole situation is down to the fact that we're at the end of flipping July. We're at the end of July. And he said this, a week ago? I think I was on here last week with Michael, this time last week. He said this a week ago. He's waited until Liverpool have got Ekitike. Not him personally, but actually no, him. He's waited until Ekitike's gone to Liverpool. He's going to sign that flipping stupid deal for them stupid people. He's going to go.
I think the problem for Nick is she married a scouter.
That's my next problem.
That's the real issue.
Then
she's on the verge of divorce already.
I'm on the verge, yeah. And then he's then thought, well, now's an absolute fantastic time that I want to explore my options because that's just what I'm going to do. He's told his agent he wants to explore his options, and his agents have said that whatever explore my options may be, it could be, can I explore signing a new contract? It could be, can I explore signing for a new club? We don't know what it means. Very vague. Don't like it. But my problem with it is he said it over a week and a half ago, and we're still not better off, are we? That's my problem with it. Nope. We kick off the league in 2 flipping weeks. 2 weeks. That's my problem.
Yep.
That's my problem with it. And I'm furious with him.
So it makes sense, everything you've just said, but I think my brain's broken because I heard what you just said as a massive positive. So if I'm Alexander Isak and I want to stay at Newcastle and I want a new contract, then I'm going to wait until all them clubs can't afford me anymore. That's what I'm saying. I shouldn't be a Newcastle fan.
No, but I think you're just like disagreeing.
He's waiting until people can't afford him.
Has he not waited for Liverpool to sign like a ticket and then whatever else to happen and then think, I want money off Newcastle, I want 300 grand a week. Nobody's going to come and bid for us. If nobody's going
to bid for him, Kev, why would we give him more money? That's
we would have signed him a new contract by now if he was going to stay. Also, his house is up for sale on Rightmove. It's literally all over Twitter. The dude is going.
I want him to go.
He's gone. So get out my club. Go. Give me the 150 million so we can go spend
Thank you.
Get to hell.
Okay, like I say,
by hell, I mean, don't stay in the UK. Go to a club abroad, please, because I cannot.
Yeah, that would be the perfect move, wouldn't it? Really.
My brain's broken. It's official because I'm seeing that as
we knew that anyway,
just try and get more money, and it was a bit of a mistake.
Sorry,
it was a bit of a mistake. So I guess what I want to talk about is I don't think my theory is correct. I think he probably does want to leave, but I think there's loads of. The problem is. The agent doesn't understand my club. He doesn't understand my fans' reaction, my emotion behind Newcastle United. This isn't a Liverpool, no disrespect, Liverpool, where there's 2 clubs in one city. This isn't a Arsenal, Tottenham, or any sort of London club where, it's something we do on the weekend. This is like our lives, isn't it? As Newcastle fans, it's different up here. So I think he hasn't understood making that statement. Isak or the agent, I have no idea who's to blame. However, I'll chuck a scenario at you. If Isak was to come out and sack his agent and make a statement of, I strongly misjudged exploring my contract options. I want to stay at Newcastle. This was something which my agent put out without my knowledge or something without me really agreeing to, or it was misinterpreted. I apologise to Newcastle fans. I'm staying for this season. Would you welcome him back, or is your stand still, Nick, get out of my club, get gone?
He wants to go.
You don't. No, I'm saying
Kev, that ain't going to happen.
It's not
like that ain't going to happen.
I agree. This might not happen, but listen to what I'm saying. I agree. I don't think this theory is correct, right? I think he probably wants to be away and we're going to see him leave soon. But I'm just thinking from a Newcastle fan's point of view, with the emotion around this fan base, does he have any sort of way back? And I think the only way back for him personally is if something like that comes out where he sacks his agent, he makes a statement and says, let's say he did want to go, right? He did want to go, but nobody's bid for him because he left it too late. He wasn't being clever trying to get more money, and he now realizes he has to stay. How does he come back? Does that statement sit well with you?
He's got to make a statement like that. He's got no choice.
That would work.
And that's my mind would be like, you've been forced into that, mate. I don't believe you.
Would you allow him back if that statement was made, or would you just be like, no, get gone still?
I've got no choice but to let him back, but I don't want him. Okay. I'll be honest.
Fair. No, that's good. We need to be. I'm just.
Sometimes
I
people
know this isn't
cook
true.
their goose for me, and I'm done like that. Yeah.
I know this isn't true, right? I know he wants to be away and he wants to move. He wants Liverpool. Mm-hmm. Apparently, we don't know. I think it was only is it Craig Hope or whatever you call him, or the other guy who got.
I can't even keep up with who's saying what.
There's only that one person who's ever broke the story. So unless he has private access to Isak's agent, we don't know if it's just been misinterpreted or whatever. But if Isak does come out and make a statement, Nick, I'm not saying it will happen. I don't think it will happen. But if he does, would you allow him back? Or are you the same as Joe? Like, nah, you're done now. Get gone.
Look, it's all like an emotional reaction, isn't it? Because obviously we love our club. Like, no one does it like Newcastle fans. I'm completely adamant that I feel like no one does it like us. And we love our club like wholeheartedly, like you've just said. Obviously, if he stays and he makes a statement, then, we'll just have to kind of build a bridge, get over it, and then ride this wave again next summer when he wants to leave. Because my problem with the situation is...
Nick was going back to normal there. I was like, nah, he's going to want to leave again. I'm going to kill him.
My problem is when a player wants to leave a club and is unsettled at a club, we've seen it time and time and time again. My problem with it is, if he's now unsettled at the club, I'm going to make a statement. Really sorry to all Newcastle fans. I didn't know what I was saying. Blah, 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 blah. And then he goes on to have the worst season of his career. So then he's kind of forced out the flipping club.
For less money.
For less money. So my stance is, if he wants out, please get rid of him now. And by now, I mean now.
And max out on the money,
him. Get the 150 million so we can invest it wisely on 3, 4, 5, potentially 5 players. I don't know. Fine. Because what I don't want to happen is us sitting here this time next year and he's worth, I don't know, 70. I don't know. Like just
literally half. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree 100% with what you're saying. If he does want to be away, get gone.
Get him gone.
You know what? Yeah. I'm not even going to say get gone because I will always appreciate that goal he scored in the final. His contribution
100%.
to get us back in
I
Europe.
appreciate Burn more.
I know it's hard now in terms of. And we're like little children here. I know it's hard now.
Yes, we are.
It's hard now with the emotion, but I'm not going to boo Isak. I'm not going to have a pop at him or wish him bad because
just ignore him.
He has contributed massively to our club. But thank you very much.
When he texts me, I'm just going to be like, "You're dead to me."
Thank you.
Blocked.
Thank you very much for the £150 million in back in the Champions League. But we're gonna make some money off it and we're going to spend it wisely. I agree. But we actually, all we've ever heard, right, and this has took on a life of its own, this whole Isak story. All we've ever heard is he wants to explore his options or his contract. I don't even know what the official statement was, but that's all we've heard, and nothing said. And it was one reporter.
Is that not the problem?
It was one reporter. Yeah, but what Isak can't come out and can he come out? I don't. Footballers never do that. Footballers never come out.
All right, so his agent could, or someone could. But
his agent might be able to. His agent might have misjudged it. Fabrizio Romano's just copying off that guy from the Northeast. I'm not against Isak, but I'm kind of in the boat now that Isak is going to leave. Hopefully we get loads of money for him. Thank you very much for everything you've done. We'll rebuild. But a little part of us just thinks there's been no official bid. What happens if he does come back? Are the fans going to take him? That's why I thought if he makes a statement or he sacks his agent or whatever, is that enough to get him forgiveness? Newcastle fans, exactly like Nick said and like I said as well, the different breed. Is he going to get forgiven if he ends up having to stay?
I think a lot will, because we're soft as well. You know why? Come on, you know what we're like? We've literally just discussed what we're like with our club. We will still support him. Us three will still support him if he stays this season. However, it's supporting in a whole different way. Like, we'll support him as in we want him to score because we want the benefit of the club. I'm not going to support him as a person, though. That's my stance on it. I won't. Like, no. There's very much difference, isn't it? I support him because I want him to score for Newcastle and I want Newcastle to win games. But he can get gone.
I don't know if my reaction to the whole and it probably is. So everyone just take my reaction maybe with a pinch of salt. I am annoyed. I would always be annoyed when a player leaves Newcastle. Don't get me wrong, a decent player by the way. Wasn't too upset about Sean Longstaff, not gonna lie. I've said it before. I like him, just not for Newcastle.
I like him more than Isak.
I think my reaction is I will never know peace again if he goes to Liverpool. I missed what Joe just said then. What did she say?
I like him more than Isak.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm just being ridiculous.
I will never know peace again if he goes to Liverpool. Now, if this was Barcelona he was linked with, or PSG, or anyone, we're going to give you 150 million. I'll be like, perfect. Okay, because we're probably not going to play you in the Champions League final in 2026. So fine, no problem, take him. But I think it's the fact that it could be a potential Premier League club, and I will never know peace again in my house. Just an FYI, people. I think I might move.
See, yours is personal reasons, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So I think just to round that out before we do the last 3 minutes, because Nick can't go over 35 minutes. Technology's not good enough.
Well.
just briefly, I think for Isak, I don't know what I think. My heart probably says if it's the real story is he does want to leave, and he is going to leave.
My mind's telling me no.
Okay.
Oh, but my
body.
However, I think there probably is a way back, and I think if he does come back, we need him to perform well because we're going to get half a money otherwise. So there is a way back. I would be really interested to see the comments on this to see if Isak has a way back or not, because I think a lot of fans will say there's no way back. You've made your bed, go lie in it, which I disagree with, but that's what we're like as a fan base, aren't we? Right. Final 4 minutes. I was put on a TikTok post on Daily Newcastle talking about Celtic.
TikTok.
And I've never seen a group of fans react to a friendly win. Like 70-something comments, 7,000 views. Go on it. Honestly, Nick, it's mental.
Nick,
the
it's
Celtic
great.
fans. We're talking about like how much superior they are.
It's obviously one of the latest.
Yeah, how superior they are over us, and it had nothing to do with it being their fifth. All I was saying was, for the people who haven't seen it or have TikTok, right? It was, we've played 1 pre-season friendly. They've played 5. They are obviously a lot sharper, and maybe like, it could have been 6 or 7. What? Nick's looking at it now and laughing because the Celtic fans.
Oh my God!
So I kind of want to. I've never seen a reaction like it over a friendly win. So I want to go into Celtic and Rangers being in the Prem. We're going to have a minute each. If Celtic and Rangers were in the Prem, Joe, where would they finish?
Celtic would drop out and Rangers would stay in because I love Rangers and I hate Celtic. Woo!
So Celtic relegated, Rangers away.
It's really annoyed the Celtic fans.
Wait to hear my response. Where would you put Rangers? Bottom half?
Celtic drop out, Rangers stay in the second. Rangers would be in the second half. Celtic would get relegated.
Okay, so bottom half for Rangers, Celtic are getting relegated in the Prem. Nick, what about you?
I like Rangers because my dad supports them, but they'll both end up back in the Championship.
Both get relegated. I think.
That's not honest. I'm just trying to rile the Celtic.
I know Celtic. I'm not even trying to rile them here. I'm being genuinely honest, right? I honestly think if Celtic and Rangers came into the Premier League fully like ready to go like they are now and we're nowhere near, I think Celtic would probably finish like, it would be Celtic or Rangers. One of them would go down. One would be 18th and one would be 17th. I don't know which one. I don't know why the reaction on that TikTok video was like, we're much better than you. We're massive. We're huge. I'm like, you beat us in a friendly.
Does he think that way?
They started attacking the away fans. Right? He didn't make much noise for 10,000 away fans. Sorry, mate. You used to 500 Hibs fans away. Like, what are you talking about? Unbelievable. So yeah, that was a weird thing. So if you are listening this far in, go back and look at that video on TikTok because it is absolutely mental, the reaction from a whole Celtic fan base on a Newcastle account over a friendly win when all I said was we were 5 weeks ahead of us in pre-season or something. Mental. Crazy.
They were triggered.
Yeah. Anyway, what I do want to see comments about, because Nick's still laughing at the comments from Celtic fans, what I do want to see comments about is, number one, does Isak have a way back? If it's all a misunderstanding, I don't think it is. But if it does come out and say it's misunderstanding, does Isak have a way back? And two, if he does have a way back, how does he actually come back and perform as well?
He does not.
I agree. Personally, I think we've probably got to cash in, get the 150 million and rebuild, which I don't think is the end of the world. But Newcastle fans, just calm. Stay calm. It's all right. We have a manager who turned Isak's like 6 goals from his previous season into 60-odd Premier League goals over 3 seasons. So no matter who comes in, we're going to be all right. Anyway, tomorrow, Daily Newcastle, you'll have another episode. Comment, let me know what you think. It's been a pleasure as always, girls. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.